Getting a student visa is so freaking stressful. Hi, I'm Claire, and today it is my job to help you along with the process of getting your study abroad student visa, because I was like in pain when I was trying to figure out what I needed to get mine. So I really want to help you out. But this will be mostly about the Spain visa process, just because I am sure that it varies a bit per country. I will be studying abroad this spring in Madrid, Spain, and I submitted my visa through the Spanish consulate in Los Angeles. So I will be focusing on the requirements for a student visa in Los Angeles at the consulate here. So before we get started, you do need to know where you are studying abroad and for how long you're studying abroad. For instance, I'm studying abroad in Madrid and I will be staying there around 150 days. If you are staying over 180 days, that is definitely a slightly different process, but as long as it's under 180 days, we're good to go. You're gonna have a lot easier time completing all the requirements. So you do need to find the consulate that applies to you and where you're going. For me, it is the Los Angeles Spanish consulate at 5055 Wilshire Boulevard. So as for your appointment, make sure that you are on the official website. There are other websites that claim to give you a visa and they don't. Just go through the official consulate website. Your school will definitely help you out on this if you're studying abroad with your university. And when you find that website, make sure to book your appointment as soon as possible. A lot of the spots fill up fast. For me, I didn't have too much trouble, but the previous year, students going to Spain couldn't even get appointments at all. There was some huge overload of the system. So just be really aware of that and get a good appointment as soon as possible. Okay, for the fun part, I would recommend you print out the packet of everything that you need for your student visa, like I have done so here, because this will make your process a lot easier. And I will go through this with you step by step, because this is really what I wanted. When I was going through this myself, I was like, why don't any of the videos go through step by step? Well, it's your lucky day. So print this out, take a moment, go to the website, find that page that says study visa, and it says required documents for the student. So we're going to start there. You will need to first, for the Spain visa, this is just for the Spanish visa, by the way. I would go over this in the same way for other countries and you can still follow along. Just keep in mind it will be a little different, but I will give tips on stuff like where to get your documents apostilled, translated, etc. So I would still watch this for a little bit of guidance on what you do and you don't need. So for the first part of the documents that you need is the visa application form. And printed out, it looks a little something like this. Okay, I'm sure it varies per country that you're going to, but generally you're just going to need to give your basic info. I know that you do have to provide a lot of info, not a lot, but some info on the university that you'll be studying at while you're in your abroad country. And my school, USC, actually told me to use a different address than the one I was actually living at for the visa app, just to make it a smoother process. If your university does give you that, I would recommend following their advice, but if not, you can just put where you'll be living, which is why it's important to get your housing as early as possible, because you might need that in your visa depending on what country you are applying for. So the next part is a passport photograph. You can get this at, a FedEx. I went to CVS, it was like 15 bucks, really cheap. I'd recommend doing this just so it everything runs smoothly rather than doing it yourself. But yeah, that's self-explanatory. Same thing as passport. Make sure you have a valid passport, please. That would be really unfortunate if you went through all this work and didn't have a valid passport. So do that as soon as possible. For proof of acceptance, number 4, I was given this letter by my university. It basically already had it written out in Spanish and in English. I don't think that that's necessary, but that's just what I was given. This is really going to depend on the school you have, to be honest, but they should provide that. Proof of financial means, number 5. The hardest part, I would say. The part that most students struggle with, and I've heard the most issues with from my friends, and the most questions, is this. And same with myself. This took a really long time to understand. But it's easy once you know what you have to do. So there are multiple ways you can prove your financial ability to live in this country. And usually, first, what you need to know is the amount of money that you need to prove. So for me, the minimum living requirement is $700 a month. So I actually used my financial aid package to prove that, because that's such a low number for me that it's easy to prove just with financial aid and not having to get a bunch of bank statements, apostilled and translated. So I did that. If that is an option for you, highly recommend. The issue though it's not an issue, but the thing you need to know for sure, if you are going to use your financial aid award, you need to also provide proof of an existing bank account under your name. All that I turned in was my financial aid award, my one bank statement showing that my bank account is just there, doesn't matter how much money is in it. And I got both of those notarized, apostilled, and then translated in that order. So I know that I'll explain how to do that in a second. But the other options are you can do the financial aid. You can also provide 3 bank statements with this amount, this monthly amount minimum. And you would do the same process of apostilling it and translating. And you can also have your parents accept full financial responsibility for your time abroad. But if you do this, you would need to have a letter from them. It says more in here, and I have not personally gone through this process, but it's a bit more complicated. So I would recommend doing one of the first 2 if you can. But let's get into the apostille, the translation. That is the part that was the biggest struggle for me. So first, you need to get it notarized. You cannot have something apostilled without having it notarized. So here is the place that I went to get my documents notarized. I only got the bank statement and the financial aid award notarized. I didn't need to get anything else in my entire application notarized. But this notary is in downtown LA, so if there's any LA girlies or guys that need to go to a notary downtown LA, it's 127 East 4th Street. They're very helpful. Next, I took these documents that were notarized to the Los Angeles Secretary of State. It's literally around the corner from the notary if you are in downtown LA. It is on 300 South Spring Street. This also wasn't too much, maybe $16. I'll add in the amounts above, but pretty affordable. After you do that, you need to get these documents translated, okay? This was also confusing for me because there are a lot of different translators out there saying a lot of different things. Just know that the consulate has an official list of translators. You don't need to go through a separate company that's gonna apostille this, notarize that for you, and translate it. Do it all yourself and find someone on this list. I emailed a couple people and there was only one that stuck out to me. She was very professional, and she offered a reasonable price. I will put her email right here if you need to email her for Spanish translations only. But one big thing you do need to know with the translation is you don't need to get it mailed to you. You don't need to send out your documents. Do not mail out your documents to someone. You can literally just send them a PDF over email of the documents you need apostilled, even a photo, like a clear photo, this is what she said, and they will email it to you back. What happened for me was I Zelled her the amount of money that it cost, and then she emailed it back to me within like 3 days, and it was really a smooth process, and it was all approved very easily. So don't feel like you need to pay an absurd amount of money to, have this mailed to you. I'll put all the costs for the visa, apostilling, notary process right here. So yeah. Now let's go on to the next requirement. Health insurance. You do need this. It is very extensive qualifications. I am very lucky that my school gave me this insurance that would fulfill all these requirements. And they just gave me the documentation as well, so I just printed that out, 2 copies. By the way, make multiple copies of everything. Trust me, just do it. A lot of things it asks for 2 copies, so just do it anyway. That's what I did. I didn't end up needing it for this, but like, be safe rather than sorry. It's worth it. So the health insurance thing, I would recommend trying to get it through your school if you can. If not, I can't be as much help because I did not do this myself. I would make sure that it just really fits all the qualifications on here because it's very extensive. So you really need that too. As for number 7, your criminal record check. You do not need this if you were staying less than 180 days. I thought we needed this at first. I was trying to set up an appointment to get fingerprints scanned. You do not need it if you are studying abroad a normal semester like me. I'm staying there around 150 days, probably over that. So I would really make sure that you are not going to be there over 180 days. And if you are, think about cutting your trip a little short if you can. Like if you're getting there early and you shave off a few days, just so you don't have to do this because it's a very extensive process that I'm so happy I didn't have to do. Same thing for the medical certificate, number 8. You do not need that if you're staying a normal semester under 180 days. For proof of residence, that's literally just a photocopy of your ID. But the funny thing is, this is such an easy requirement, but at the visa office, at the consulate, when I was waiting for my appointment, they sent like 3 different students before me while I was waiting to go make a copy of their IDs downstairs, like across the street, because they didn't bring it. So just don't be that person. Don't waste their time. They were really nice about it though. I don't know how other consulates are gonna be. They might just turn you away. So please make a color copy of the front and back of your ID and do 2 of them just to be sure. For number 10, proof of the representative's identity. Don't need that because you're probably not a minor if you're studying abroad in college. Number 11, authorization of legal representatives. Same thing with that. That's just for minors. And then the last one, number 13, is the visa fee money order. Don't bring cash. Don't bring a check. Bring a money order. You can go do this by going into your bank and just asking for a money order. You pay like a $5 fee and they give you a check-like thing and you just bring that at the date of your appointment. For the Spain consulate, it's $160. This changes though. Please check. and address it to whatever they say. So for mine, it's the Consulate General of Spain, Los Angeles. So you have to put that on the money order. Yeah, that is all the requirements. And once you finish your appointment, they will give you a paper receipt, and you can use the codes on that to check the status of your application. They have a link for this on the consulate website if you scroll down to the bottom under study visa. And if it says resuelto, that means it has been approved. Mine said that for a while and I wasn't really sure if it meant good or not, but it does. They actually called me to confirm. So Spanish visa people, resuelto is what you want. One more big note is that you need to leave your passport at the visa office when you apply. So make sure that you don't make any travel plans after your appointment, because you have to leave your passport with them, and sometimes these processes take longer than expected. Mine was maybe only 2 weeks, so it wasn't too bad, but you don't know, so you don't want to make any international travel plans is what you don't want to make. In that time period, just be aware you will not have your passport. All right, so that concludes everything you need for your visa. Once you break it down, it's really not super crazy. I hope that this video made it a little less overwhelming for you. Please let me know if you have any questions. So yeah, and my next video will be on funding your study abroad trip. If you have any questions about scholarships or any of that, make sure to comment below and I will address them in my next video. But thank you for watching. Bye!